Hey guys, welcome to today's lesson. Today we are talking about solving systems of linear equations by graphing, which I know, man, that's a mouthful of words, but I promise you this lesson today is super easy. It's way easier than it sounds. So we're just gonna get going. We're just gonna start right on in with some examples. So this says solve each system by graphing. Okay, well, what does that mean? Well, let me tell you. Whenever we see anything that says solve each system, solve these functions, find the solve the solution, all it means is when it says solve each system, the code that it's trying to tell us is find the coordinate pair that lies on both graphs. So find where the graphs cross. Find where the equations cross. Okay? So that's all it is we're just finding the coordinate pair that lies on both equations. So all we gotta do is, okay, they give us these two equations and then they were nice enough to put them on this graph for us, right? So I know that this is my first one because it has a negative slope, so I know it's going down, and this is my second equation, right? So it's saying solve each system by graphing. Okay, well, if I know when it says solve each system, all I have to do is find where the equations cross each other. Well, I look, where do they make that x? Oh, wow, right here. And now the next step is to write the coordinate pair. And so we know when we have our coordinate pairs, we say our x-axis and then our y-axis, right? So with our coordinate pair, the one that we dotted right here, when we look at the x, we see, okay, where does it fall on the x-axis? This is -1, right? Because it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yes, this is -1. And then where does it fall on the y-axis? Let's see, this is -1, 2. So -2. And that's it. The solution to these linear equations is -1, -2, because that is where the graphs intersect. Okay? Let's do another example. Solve each system by graphing. Okay, well, we're smart. We know when it says solve each system, all it is asking us find the coordinate pair that falls on both graphs, right? So find where they intersect, where they cross. And this one, it was nice enough, it even pointed it out. It's right here. So I know that this green graph goes with my equation 2 because it has a negative slope, so that means this yellow one must go with the first equation. It's not super important to know, but it is helpful. So now let's see. What is the coordinate point for the solution of this graph? Well, we remember x goes first and then y. So if we look, our x falls on 2. The axis, it's on 2. And then it falls on the y-axis at -1. So our coordinate point is 2, -1. Now, I'm going to show you how to double check your answer. And the way that you double check your work is by plugging in x and y, your answer, into one of the equations. So what I like to do is I like to pick the equation that looks easiest to work with. I'm going to pick equation 2 because I don't want to work with a negative, or I don't want to work with a fraction. I would rather work with a negative than work with a fraction. So what I mean is when I say plug in x and y into one of the equations is I'm literally going to plug in my x value for x and my y value for y and see if it's still equal on both sides. So I'm going to rewrite my equation. Y equals -2x plus 3. And you can even try it with this first equation. You can try and plug in the x and y with this first equation, and you should still get the same thing. So my y coordinate point for my answer that I picked was -1. So I'm putting in my y for my y, okay? Equals, I'm going to bring down the -2. And then the x, my x coordinate was 2, right? Because on my graph, my x coordinate point was 2. So for the x in my equation, I'm going to plug in 2 because that was my coordinate point for my solution. And then I'm just going to rewrite it down +3. Okay, so do we see how I carried my coordinate points and I just plugged them into the equation? So now I'm going to keep solving. So it has -1 for y. And this means -2 times 2. Well, -2 times +2 is -4 +3. I'm just carrying down to 3. Okay, -1 equals -4 plus 3. I know that is -1. -1 equals -1. Sounds crazy, but yes, it does. So that is how I know that this works, okay? That is how I know that my answer, my coordinate points work, because when I plug it into the equation, my equation checks out, right? It's still equal to each other. If for some reason, let's say you pick -1, 2, you got the coordinates, the axis mixed up, you can try it, it would not work out, okay? It would not be equal to each other. So if you end up and you double check, and for some reason these two are not equal, your equation isn't making sense when you're double checking, that's how you know, okay, there's something off with my answer and I need to go back and look at my graph. Okay, let's keep moving along. So this one says, what is the solution to the system of equations? Well, we know when it says what is the solution, all it's asking is where does it cross? Where do they meet? Or what is the coordinate that falls on both graphs or that falls on both lines? This one, it didn't even give us the equations, right? So all it's saying is, hey, find the coordinate point and tell me what that is. So I see where does it cross? They both cross right here. And when I write my coordinate point, I'm going to do my x first. So let's see, where does it fall for x? It falls on -5. And where does it fall on the y-axis? Well, let's see. It falls on 1, 2, 3, 3. And this one, it doesn't have the equation, so we can't go back and double check. So we just got to trust ourselves, and we know that we're smart enough to label our coordinate points right? Okay, so that's it, -5, 3, done. You're already done with that problem. Okay, last one. It's a word problem, but this is it. This is the last one. So, it says, Diego works at a warehouse that ships 2 types of packages. A red package weighing 4 pounds and a blue package weighing 6 pounds. Diego shipped a total of 40 packages weighing 180 pounds. How many red and blue packages were in the shipment? Okay, wow, that was a lot of words, right? That was a lot to read and understand. But all it's really asking is when they give us a graph that has 2 lines that cross each other, it's just saying, what point is this? Where do they cross? How many red and blue packages were in the shipment? So it says, where do these 2 lines cross? If one of these lines is the red package, one is the blue, where do they cross? So let's see, they cross here. So when I go down, my x-axis is labeled red packages. So my x-axis is going to tell me how many red packages he shipped. And that means my y-axis, it's labeled blue packages. So my y-axis is going to tell me how many blue packages he shipped. So I can tell that he shipped, when I go down, he shipped 30 red. I'm just going to do 30 red, yeah. And he shipped only, let's see, 10 blue. I'm going to show you guys how we can double check our work to make sure that we, got the right coordinate and we know we're all set. So, a way that we can double check is it tells us Well, he shipped a total of 40 packages. So let's check and see. Does 30 plus 10 equal 40? Is that the total packages? Yes, 30 plus 10 does equal 40. So I know, okay, he did ship 40 packages. And then it says, but they weigh 180 pounds. So let's make sure that our weight is correct. If I know, it says here, a red package weighs 4 pounds. What? I'm sorry. A red package weighs 4 pounds. Okay, I'm going to use red for the red. And I know I have 30 red packages. So if I have 30 red packages and they each weigh 4 pounds, how many pounds total of red packages? I can just multiply 30, my amount of packages, times the weight of each package. That equals 120 pounds of red packages. Okay, well, and then it says each blue package weighs 6 pounds. So let's double check the weight. I know I have 10 blue packages, each weighing 6 pounds. How many pounds is that total? 10 times 6, that's 60. That's 60 pounds of just blue packages. When I add the weight of both red and blue packages, I should have 180 pounds from my word problem. So when I double check, 120 pounds from my red package plus 60 pounds from my blue packages, I get 120 plus 60, that is 180 pounds. And yes, that also checks out. So both facts check. So that's how I know, yes, he shipped 30 red and 10 blue packages. Whew. And all we had to do was just look at this little dot right here, this little coordinate point, and we're done. So that is it for today's lesson. Please let me know if you have any questions at all. Go back and rewatch the video if you're confused. Message me, I am here to help you. But otherwise, you guys can have a good day. And I'll see you in class. Bye, guys.